Are you looking for a fun crochet sunflower coaster pattern or wondering how to crochet sunflower coasters? You've come to the right place.
Hello from Halifax. I'm Jo with Jo the World Creations.
And today we're going to be making my sunflower coaster crochet pattern. The free crochet pattern for these sunflower coasters is available on my website, and there's a link to that in the description below this video. For the crochet hook size, use a G hook. And for the yarn, you can use any size 4 medium yarn. We're going to start with the color you'd like for the center of the flower. As you can see here, I've used this chocolate brown color. But for this video tutorial, to ensure you can easily see what I'm doing, I'll be using this soft taupe color. We're going to start by making a magic circle. This is how I make a magic circle, and I have a whole other video showing how to do this step by step slowly that I'll link to in the description below this video. We're going to continue using this brown color for all of round 1. To start round 1, we're going to chain 2. 1, 2. Now we're going to make 16 triple crochet stitches into this magic circle. Some people call them treble crochet stitches. I call them triple crochet stitches. They're the same. And here's how to make one. We're going to yarn over twice, once, twice, and insert our hook into the magic circle. Yarn over and pull up a loop. We have 4 loops on our hook. Yarn over and pull the yarn through the first 2 loops on your hook. We now have 3 loops on our hook. Yarn over and pull the yarn through the first 2 loops on your hook. We have 2 loops left. Yarn over and pull the yarn through the remaining 2 loops. And there's our first triple crochet stitch. We're going to make a total of 16. And there's my second. You go ahead and make 16 triple crochet stitches into the magic circle and come back to the video. I now have 16 triple crochet stitches now complete. The chain 2 that we made at the beginning of this round does not count as a stitch. So when we're counting our stitches, only count the triple crochet stitches, and you should have a total of 16. Now we're going to pull the magic circle tight to close. So take that starting tail and just give it a tug and pull the magic circle tight to close. Now we're going to slip stitch in the top of the first triple crochet stitch that we made in this round to join. So we're not working into that chain 2, we're working into the top of this first triple crochet stitch. So working into the top of this first stitch, slip stitch to join. Now we're going to fasten off our brown yarn. So you can remove your hook, and we're going to cut the yarn that's attached to the skein, leaving an approximate 8-inch tail. Now we're going to pull that tail through the loop that was on our hook and pull tight. Now we're going to use the color that you'd like for these petals. As you can see, I've used this color Sunny Day when making these coasters. For this video tutorial, to ensure you can easily see what I'm doing, I'm going to use this rich orchid color. We're going to attach this new color to the first stitch. This is the same stitch that we just slip stitched into. Insert your hook into this first stitch. Place the new color on your hook, leaving about an 8-inch tail, and pull the hook with your new color through the stitch. It's okay if it's quite loose. It will be loose as you work on the pattern, but it will tighten up once you weave in all your loose ends. Now we're ready to start round 2. We're going to chain 2. In this pattern, we are never going to turn. We're going to continue working into this same stitch, this first stitch, and into this stitch, we're going to make a double crochet 2 together. We're going to start by yarning over and inserting our hook into the same first stitch. Yarn over and pull up a loop. 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over and bring the yarn through the first 2 loops on your hook. 2 loops left. Now we're going to yarn over again and insert our hook into the same stitch. Yarn over and pull up a loop. We now have 4 loops on our hook. We're going to yarn over and bring the yarn through just the first 2 loops on our hook. We have 3 loops on our hook. Yarn over and bring that yarn through all 3 loops. This completed double crochet 2 together counts as 1 stitch. Now we're going to chain 2. 1, 2. Working into the next stitch, we're going to make a triple crochet 2 together. To make our triple crochet 2 together, we're going to yarn over twice. Once, twice. Insert our hook into the next stitch. Yarn over and pull up a loop. We have 4 loops on our hook. Yarn over and pull the yarn through the first 2 loops. 3 loops left on our hook. Yarn over and pull that yarn through the first 2 loops. 2 loops on our hook. Now we're going to yarn over twice. Once, twice. And we're going to insert our hook into the same stitch. Yarn over and pull up a loop. We now have 5 loops on our hook. Yarn over and pull the yarn through the first 2 loops. 4 loops on our hook. Yarn over and bring that yarn through the first 2 loops. We now have 3 loops on our hook. Yarn over and pull that yarn through all 3 loops. And this completed triple crochet 2 together counts as 1 stitch. Now we're going to begin the repeat portion of the round. This is what we're going to be repeating all the way around. And it starts by chaining 2. Make 2 chain stitches. 1, 2. In the next stitch, we're going to make a double crochet 3 together. Here's how to do that. Yarn over, insert your hook into the next stitch. Yarn over and pull up a loop. We have 3 loops on our hook. Yarn over and bring that yarn through the first 2 loops. 2 loops left on your hook. Yarn over and insert your hook into the same stitch. Yarn over and pull up a loop. 4 loops on your hook. Yarn over and bring that yarn through the first 2 loops. 3 loops on your hook. One more time. Yarn over, insert your hook into the same stitch. Yarn over and pull up a loop. We now have 5 loops on our hook. Yarn over and pull the yarn through the first 2 loops. We now have 4 loops on our hook, and we're going to yarn over and pull that yarn through all 4 loops. And this completed double crochet 3 together counts as 1 stitch. And the last part of the repeat is to chain 2, 1, 2, and in the next stitch, make a triple crochet 2 together. So yarn over twice, insert your hook into this next stitch, pull up a loop, 4 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull that yarn through the first 2 loops, yarn over, pull that yarn through the first 2 loops, yarn over twice, insert your hook into the same stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, 5 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull that yarn through the first 2 loops, yarn over, pull your yarn through the first 2 loops, 3 loops left, and yarn over and pull that yarn through all 3 loops. And once again, this counts as 1 stitch. This is what we're going to be repeating all the way around. Let's do it one more time together. Chain 2. In the next stitch, double crochet 3 together. That's 2. We're going to do it one more time. And then we chain 2, 1, 2, and in the next stitch, make a triple crochet 2 together. You go ahead and repeat these steps all the way around. I'm nearing the end of the round and I have 2 stitches left to work into. Nothing special happens. I'm still going to be repeating those steps all the way around, but just wanted to show you what the last 2 stitches look like, because the slip stitch that joined the previous round can sometimes look like a stitch, but I wanted to point out that this slip stitch does not get worked into and it does not get counted as a stitch. So these are the last 2 stitches that you'll work into when working all the way around. So I've just chained 2. In the next stitch, I'll make my double crochet 3 together, chain 2, and then make a triple crochet 2 together in the last stitch. I've just finished repeating that all the way around. Wanted to point out that it's okay if your work is curling at this point. It will lay flat after we finish round 4. You should now have a total of 16 stitches. We are only counting the double crochet 2 together, the triple crochet 2 together, and the double crochet 3 together as stitches. All these chain stitches we made in between the stitches do not count as stitches. So that you can quickly see my stitch count, I've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, and 16 as my last stitch. To finish the round, we're going to chain 2. 1, 2. Now we're going to slip stitch into the top of this first double crochet 2 together that we made that began the round. We're going to slip stitch into the top of this stitch to join. Working into the top of this stitch, slip stitch to join. Now we're going to fasten off this yarn color. So you can remove your hook, cut the yarn from the skein, leaving about an 8-inch tail, and pull the tail through the loop that was on your hook and pull tight. Now we're going to change to the color you'd like to use for the leaves. As you can see here, I've used this deep forest color, but once again for the video tutorial, to ensure it's easy to see, I'm going to be using this fern color. We're going to be attaching this new color yarn to the first chain 2 space. The chain 2 space is this space under the 2 chains that we made in between stitches. We're going to be working into this first chain 2 space, which is right next to where we joined the previous round. So continuing to work in the same direction, because we never turn, we're going to attach our yarn right here. So insert your hook into this first chain 2 space, place your new color yarn on your hook, and pull it through the space. Again, it's going to be quite loose, but it will tighten up once we weave in our loose ends. Now we're going to begin round 3. We're going to chain 1. We're going to be working into the same first chain 2 space. The same space we just attached that yarn to, and into this space we're going to make 3 half double crochet stitches. To make our first half double crochet stitch, we're going to yarn over, insert a hook into the first same chain 2 space, yarn over and pull up a loop. 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over and pull that yarn through all 3 loops. And there's our first half double crochet stitch. We're going to make a total of 3 all in the same space. There's 2. And there's 3. Now we're going to begin the repeat portion of the round. This is what we're going to be repeating all the way around. The first thing we're going to do is chain 1. And then we're going to work into the next chain 2 space. This is the space between the next 2 stitches under the 2 chains that we made. We're going to be working right into here. Into this next chain 2 space, we're going to make 3 half double crochet stitches, all in the same space. There's 2. There's 3. And that's what you're going to be repeating all the way around. Chain 1, and in the next chain 2 space, make 3 half double crochet stitches. You go ahead and repeat that all the way around. I'm almost finished repeating that all the way around. I've just chained 1, and my last step is going to be working into this last chain 2 space and still making 3 half double crochet stitches in this last chain 2 space. You should now have a total of 48 half double crochet stitches. To finish the round, we are going to chain 1, and we're going to slip stitch into the top of this first half double crochet stitch that we made in the round. So we're going to be working right into the top of this first stitch. Working in the top of this first stitch, we are going to slip stitch to join. We're going to continue using this green color for the rest of the pattern, which is just one more round. To start round 4, we're going to chain 1. We are going to skip this first stitch. This is the stitch that's attached to that chain 1 we just made. We are not going to work into this first stitch. In the next stitch, we're going to single crochet. So skipping the first stitch, in the next stitch, single crochet. Now we're going to chain 2. 1, 2. We are now going to work into the second chain from the hook. So this is the first chain. We're not going to work into that. We're going to work into the second chain under the top loop. And under this top loop, that's where we're going to be inserting our hook, just under this top loop. And we're going to slip stitch. So working into this second chain from the hook, insert your hook under that top loop and slip stitch. And now we're going to single crochet in the same stitch that we made our first single crochet into. So working into the same stitch, we're going to make another single crochet stitch. So working into the same stitch, make a single crochet stitch. Now we're going to chain 1. We are going to skip the next stitch. The next stitch is the top of the third half double crochet stitch we made in the previous round. We're not going to work into that, and we're never going to work into the chain stitches. Remember how we made a chain 1 in between these 3 half double crochet stitches? We're never going to work into those. We are now going to slip stitch into the chain 1 space, which is the space between the 3 half double crochet stitches and under the chain 1. And we're going to slip stitch into it. So after we've single crocheted in the same stitch and chained 1, we go directly into making a slip stitch into the next chain 1 space. Now we're going to begin the repeat portion of the round, and this is what we're going to be repeating all the way around. We're going to start by chaining 1. we are going to skip the next stitch. The next stitch can be a little tricky to see because we've slip stitched into the chain one space, and so that slip stitch can cover it a little bit. But this next stitch is the top of the first half double crochet stitch we made when we made 3. So this is the top of the first one. This is the top of the middle one right here, and that's the top of the third one. We're only going to work into the top of the middle stitch. So skipping the next stitch, and then the next thing we're going to do is single crochet in the next stitch. So the first part of our repeat was to chain 1, then we're going to skip the next stitch, and in the next stitch, single crochet. Now we're going to chain 2. 1, 2. Working into the second chain from the hook, we're going to slip stitch. Insert your hook under that top loop and then slip stitch. Now we're going to single crochet in the same stitch as we made our previous single crochet stitch into. Now we're going to chain 1. We're going to skip the next stitch and work directly into the next chain 1 space, and into this chain 1 space, slip stitch. And those are the steps we're going to repeat all the way around. Let's do it one more time together. So we're going to chain 1, skip the next stitch, in the next stitch, single crochet, chain 2, in the second chain from the hook, slip stitch, working under the top loop, and single crochet in the same stitch. Chain 1, skip the next stitch, and work directly in the next chain 1 space and slip stitch. You go ahead and repeat those steps all the way around. I'm almost finished repeating those steps all the way around. I have one last repeat to do, and I thought we could do it together to show you how to finish the round. I've just slip stitched into the second last chain 1 space. This is the second last one right here, and nothing special happens. I'm continuing to follow the exact same steps. Chain 1, and skip the next stitch, in the next stitch, single crochet, chain 2, in the second chain from the hook, slip stitch, working under the top loop, single crochet in the same stitch, chain 1, and the last thing to do is what we've been doing all the way around is slip stitch into the next chain 1 space. So this is the final chain 1 space right here. So working into this last chain 1 space, slip stitch. After you've made your slip stitch into this last chain 1 space, that's the end of the round. You can now fasten off, leaving about an 8-inch tail. Pull the tail through the loop that was on your hook and pull tight. And then with your yarn needle, weave in all your loose ends. And now you have a brand new sunflower coaster. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoy making these sunflower coasters. I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to hear what colors you used. I'd love to see your finished coasters. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, I'd be so grateful if you could subscribe to my YouTube channel and give this video a thumbs up. I am here if there's anything at all I can do to help. Thank you so much and have a wonderful day.